Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pocket Coaching. I'm Penny and I'm here with Katie, and we're going to talk to you today about just actually some of the value that you can get out of attending the summit. So we hosted our previous Pet and Parent Longevity Summit last summer. And as we're gearing up to bring you the next one, and we're getting really inspired by speaking to a lot of our experts about their special modality, what it is that they do that fine-tunes health or extends longevity, we thought, let's just take a second and look back and see what is it that we took home from the previous summer. What did we learn last time that we've been able to implement into our own lives, and where was the impact? So I'm just going to interview Katie today just to put her in the spotlight and say, tell us your story. So, okay, last summer, it was kind of an early foray into a lot of the animal modalities, right? So you're a human expert, you know this stuff, you've lived and breathed it for a long time, you've made it a really big part of your life, and you reap all the rewards from it. So you know that it all works and it's great stuff. But who were some of the speakers, or what were some of the messages that came through really strongly from you last time? So much so that you said, that's the thing I'm going to adopt.
Yeah, you're so right. So it's really been a journey for me. I mean, when we met, only a year ago now, you're such a big part of my life now. When we really connected because you were telling me all about how it applies to animals. And like you said, like I knew it on the human side, and it was just transferring that to my pups and my kitty. So that's really been the key. And the biggest thing, the first thing I will say that from the summit, so when you and I met, I had switched them to lightly cooked meat and veg. And then when we interviewed Thomas Sandberg, Dr. Nick Thompson, I mean, all of these, everyone, right? The message is very clear. Raw is best. So I did switch to raw immediately after recording those interviews. So both of my dogs and my kitty are all raw fed now. And the change has been drastic. I mean, GI symptoms, vitality, their fur, oh my gosh, like their fur, all three of them, like every time I pet them, I'm like, oh my gosh, like just use you guys a little pillow. So that was one of the big things, was going raw. And let me just say, everyone's community was so sweet, because when we posted those interviews, people were like sending me private messages like, you can do it, like just go for it. And it was actually really easy. What else? Started using the self-selection with essential oils after our chat with Caroline. And that has just been huge for some of Peanut's kind of long-term, she's almost 16, some of her long-term things that, what you call niggles, that even my holistic vet hadn't brought up. So that was huge. That's made a really big impact as well.
So when you were hearing some of these things for the first time, or perhaps not the first time, but actually now understanding the scale of benefit that was available to you, was that something that helped promote or encourage you to do the behavior change? Because the behavior change is the hard bit. Like, we love to get buzzed by the excitement of something and know that there's, oh my gosh, this exists, but actually doing it. So did those levels of excitement help, or was it more the community that was supporting you around that, or knowing, like, where was it that you got your ability to make it happen?
That's a really good question. And it might be different for me just because of where I'm kind of at with all of it. But for me, it was simply understanding what it looked like in pets versus humans, what it looked like for cats and dogs. But I think that the biggest stumbling block was simply the first step, like the fear of the first step. Like, what if I do raw and something terrible happens? What if I give them the wrong oil? What if, it was like, as soon as I took the first step, as soon as I offered raw, it was like, oh, like, this is clearly simple and easy and like very right. And as soon as, I got the oils and started offering them and really just kind of tuned into what Peanut needed. It was very clear. So I think that the first step, and I see this a lot on the, when we make human health behavior changes too, right? It's like that first step is kind of the scariest. And now it's like, there's just momentum going, and those changes they're just a part of kind of the routine now and the lifestyle now. And it doesn't take up any extra like time or energy, right? It just is what it is now.
And so when you started to do things, you had that first step, which is the courageous bit, the hard bit. Was the encouragement in the behavior or attitude or response from your pets something that helped encourage you further,
Totally.
do the thing and get a big smile on their face? Because I know that so many pets are really craving raw, right?
Yeah.
If they're on their kibble, they're craving anything that's got nutrients in it. They're craving live food of any kind. So whatever jump you make, the pet, in my experience, has always just been ecstatic with, oh my gosh, you're giving me this now. Did you notice any of that?
Oh yeah. And Peanut's very picky about, you're wondering, she's very picky about what she eats. And the first time she's like a cat in that she's like just very like bougie. And the first time I gave her raw, she turned into like a little monster and just like gobbled it all up. And it was like an immediate aha moment. I'm like, okay, why am I cooking her food? Like she likes it better this way anyway. And yeah, I mean, you can just see the enthusiasm in that. And then, I mean, with the oils as well, it's so immediate. Like the response is so literally you offer it and you can see if it's helping or they don't want it. And with that, I mean, within a day, literally, like within 24 hours, I was already seeing benefit, and I continue to see more and more benefit as we continue using them. And I mean, what more encouragement could you want than to see the benefits? And it's interesting because it's not like I'm doing it to my body and I can feel it, but it's so obvious with them. Like it really is. And probably just because I know them so well, right? Like we know our pets so well. But yeah, that's the biggest encouragement of all. So needless to say, coming up round 2 of the summit, I mean, like I selfishly love these summits for myself too. I don't know if you feel like that for you, but I mean, it's just, it's incredible to just hear from these different experts and go deep on them. So I'm sure coming up on this next one, there will be more changes and just strategies to incorporate, because the thing is I feel confident and comfortable in the changes we've made, and it doesn't feel like a burden, right? Like I wouldn't want to take on so much that I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like I started with one thing and then raw was easy. And then it was like, okay, the next thing, oils, great. And then it'll just kind of keep building. So I'm selfishly super excited, not only to share it with everyone, but for myself to start implementing some more strategies that will just continue to enhance their quality of life.
And I think that one of the big things that I like when learning something new as well is that everything that we're talking about, all the experts that we're inviting to have this conversation with, have solutions and modalities and protocols that are safe, kind, and effective.
Yeah.
These are natural. So when you're uncertain and you're like, oh, I've never done this before, I need to take that first step, I want to take that first step, you can have that extra layer of reassurance knowing if I get it a little bit wrong, there's no big fallout, there's no great disaster. I can't overdose, for example. Like if you're taking a new medication, you might think, golly, what are the side effects? What are the counter indications going to be with other things I may be taking? But when you're working with natural medicine and with these kind of natural kind therapies, that risk is just off the table. So you can refine your own ability as you get practice, but it doesn't matter how you start almost, because there is no wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, I think with on the pet side, right, tuning in to what they already know that they need, as opposed to forcing things on them, but also like a lot of this is just lifestyle stuff, right? Like take your dog out to get fresh air and get contact with the earth, like, right? Like you're not going to OD on fresh air,
Fresh air and sunshine, yeah.
But yet it's so incredibly profound. But the reason why we wanted to talk about this today is because with the summit coming up, we really want to bring it back to focusing on implementation and reminding everyone that one or two changes, one or two strategies that you adopt, I mean, that can make a world of difference. And it also builds your confidence. And I think within all of this, we all need wins, right? To keep us going. And I would just say, you know, take your wins where you can get them. Start with something small that seems super manageable to you. And then once you're feeling good about that, then you can add one other thing in, because again, these are sustainable. You can do them long-term, but you don't have to do them all today. So.
Yeah, great point.
All right, so upcoming summit, stay tuned for more details, but we are kicking off February 6th is day one. So we're gonna be coming at you with some more info on how to get the most out of the summit, some more strategies and kind of ideas that you can take going into it to really make the most of whatever time you can invest in it. If you haven't signed up already, it's totally free to sign up, petandparentlongevity.com. And we will be sending more details to your inbox.